I never imagined that one summer could change the entire course of my life. My name is Kevin Dawson, and I was 17 when everything happened. My dad, Thomas Dawson, had remarried just a year before to a woman named Lisa. She was elegant, always dressed like she was headed to some important meeting, even when she was just making dinner. She had this calm voice and rarely raised it, even when my little stepsister Emily spilled milk on the carpet or when the dog chewed up her purse. But I could never really figure her out. Something about her always felt a little distant. Not cold exactly, just hard to reach. After Mom died when I was 12, it had just been me and Dad for a long time. We managed, clumsily, but there was always this hole where Mom used to be. When Lisa came into the picture, it felt strange. She moved in so quickly, and suddenly, there were scented candles in the bathroom and a no-shoes rule in the living room. At first, I tried to stay out of her way. I didn't want to cause problems, and honestly, I didn't think she was really interested in getting to know me. But all that changed last July, in a way I never saw coming. It started when Dad had to leave for a business trip to Chicago. He was a regional manager for some manufacturing company, and these trips weren't unusual. But this time, he'd be gone for nearly 2 weeks. That left just me, Lisa, and Emily in the house. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured I'd spend most of the time in my room playing video games, watching movies, and avoiding any awkward family dinners. On the second night after Dad left, the power went out. A thunderstorm rolled in late, knocking down branches and shaking the windows. The whole house went dark just as I was heating up a frozen pizza. I stumbled through the hallway, using the light from my phone, until I found Lisa in the living room. She was lighting candles. "Looks like we'll be roughing it tonight," she said, laughing softly. I nodded awkwardly. "Guess so. Emily's already asleep, thank goodness. You want to hang out? Play a board game or something? Might be more fun than sitting alone in the dark." I hesitated. The idea of sitting across from Lisa by candlelight felt a little weird. But I didn't want to seem rude. "Sure," I said. We ended up playing Scrabble. It was actually kind of fun. She wasn't as uptight as I'd thought. She made jokes, teased me when I misspelled a word, and told stories about her childhood in Oregon. It was the first real conversation we'd ever had. For the first time, she didn't feel like a stranger. Just someone trying to fit into a life that was already in progress. Over the next few days, things kept shifting. We started spending more time together. She invited me to go grocery shopping with her, and on the way back, we stopped for milkshakes. One afternoon, we worked on the garden in the backyard. I had no idea how much she loved plants. She talked about how she wanted to turn the backyard into a place where everyone could relax, where family could come together. That word, family, stuck with me. I hadn't heard it in a while, not in a way that felt real. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, probably close to midnight. I couldn't sleep, so I went downstairs to get a drink. As I passed the living room, I noticed the light was still on. Lisa was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, watching some old black and white movie. She looked up when she saw me. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. I shook my head. "Yeah, just needed water. Come sit. This movie's a classic." I hesitated again. But something about her voice was inviting. Not commanding, just warm. So I sat. She handed me half the blanket and we watched in silence for a while. The movie was slow, and I didn't understand half of what was going on, but the quiet was nice. Peaceful. Then she said something that caught me off guard. "You know, Kevin, I was really nervous about becoming your stepmom." I glanced over. "Really? Of course. I mean, you're smart, independent, and you had this whole life before I showed up. I didn't want to ruin that." "You didn't," I said, surprising even myself. "It's just been a lot. I get that. I do. And I've probably made some mistakes. But I want you to know, I care about you. Even if I haven't always shown it." Something twisted in my chest. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. She smiled softly and turned back to the movie. That night, I went to bed thinking about her words. They stayed with me, buzzing quietly in the background of everything I did for the next few days. But things didn't stay peaceful for long. A few days later, Lisa got a call from her sister. Her father had been taken to the hospital in Portland. She was clearly shaken but tried to stay composed. She packed a bag quickly and asked me if I could watch Emily for a couple of nights while she flew out to be with her dad. I said of course. She hugged me before she left, a real hug. The kind you give someone you trust. That weekend, I found myself thinking about her a lot more than I should have. I couldn't explain it. Maybe it was how she made me feel seen. Like I wasn't just some background character in her life. Maybe it was the loneliness creeping in, or the way she had smiled at me during that movie. I hated myself for it, but the thoughts came anyway. When she returned 3 days later, everything had changed, but not in the way I feared. She thanked me for taking care of Emily, told me how much it meant to her. She looked exhausted. That night, she didn't go to her room. Instead, she fell asleep on the couch. I found her there the next morning, her head resting on the armrest, the blanket still around her shoulders. I covered her with another one and left quietly. Later that day, she pulled me aside. "You've grown up a lot, Kevin," she said. "Thank you for stepping up." It wasn't what she said that struck me, it was how she said it. Like she was seeing me not just as a kid anymore, but as someone who could be depended on. Someone who mattered. I realized then that what she did to me wasn't anything sinister. She changed the way I saw myself. She gave me the kind of emotional attention I hadn't known I needed. She taught me that vulnerability wasn't weakness, that kindness didn't have to be earned. She opened a door I didn't even know was there. But it wasn't just about how I felt. Something shifted in our home too. After that summer, we started doing things together as a family more often. Lisa made an effort to include me in decisions. She asked about my college plans, my interests, even my music. She pushed Dad to listen more, to spend more time at home. And he did. Slowly, but surely. A year later, I stood on a stage giving a speech at my high school graduation. My dad was there, of course. But when I looked out into the crowd, it was Lisa's smile I found first. And I knew, in that moment, she had done something for me I could never have imagined. She helped heal the parts of me I thought were broken forever. She made me believe in family again.